Imagine buying something online for just a few dollars today, without realizing you may still be paying for it months later. Across America, millions of people are now using buy now, pay later apps for clothes, food, electronics, vacations, and even groceries. At first, it feels harmless. Small payments, no credit card needed, instant approval. But behind the convenience is a growing financial system quietly changing how Americans spend money. And many experts believe this trend could become one of the biggest hidden debt problems in the modern economy. In today's video, we're uncovering the real truth about buy now, pay later apps and why so many Americans are falling into the pay later trap. Welcome back to The Dollar Pilot. Today we're talking about one of the fastest growing financial trends in America: buy now, pay later apps. Over the past few years, services like Klarna, Afterpay, Affirm, PayPal Pay Later, and Zip have exploded in popularity across the United States. Millions of Americans now use these apps to split purchases into smaller payments over time. At first glance, the system sounds simple and convenient. Instead of paying the full price up front, consumers make smaller payments spread across several weeks or months. For many Americans struggling with rising living costs, this feels like financial relief. But there's a deeper story behind the rapid growth of buy now, pay later services, and it reveals a lot about the current state of the American economy. The biggest reason these apps exploded is because life in America became dramatically more expensive. Housing costs increased, groceries became more expensive, car insurance rose, healthcare costs surged, credit card interest rates climbed, and millions of households began feeling financially squeezed. As a result, many consumers started searching for ways to manage short-term cash flow more easily. That's exactly where buy now, pay later apps entered the market. These companies offered something psychologically powerful: the ability to buy things immediately while delaying the financial pain. And for younger Americans especially, the model felt far more attractive than traditional credit cards. Many buy now, pay later services advertise interest-free payments if users pay on time. That sounds safer than credit cards charging 20% or even 30% interest. But here's where things become more complicated. The danger is not always the interest itself. The danger is how easy these apps make spending feel. When consumers see smaller installment payments instead of full prices, purchases suddenly feel cheaper psychologically. A $400 purchase becomes just 4 payments of $100. A $1,000 purchase suddenly feels manageable. This changes spending behavior dramatically. Research consistently shows that consumers tend to spend more money when payment feels smaller or delayed. And buy now, pay later systems are designed around that psychology. Another major issue is that many Americans now stack multiple payment plans at the same time. Someone may have separate installments running for clothing, electronics, furniture, concert tickets, beauty products, travel, and even groceries simultaneously. Individually, each payment may seem small, but together, they can create serious financial pressure. And because these payments often auto-withdraw from bank accounts, missed payments can quickly create overdraft fees, late charges, and financial stress. The rise of buy now, pay later apps also reflects a deeper economic reality. Millions of Americans simply don't have enough savings. Unexpected expenses can easily disrupt household budgets. For younger generations especially, wages often struggle to keep pace with housing, healthcare, student loans, and inflation. As a result, financing everyday purchases has started feeling normal. And that normalization is important, because historically, installment financing was mostly used for major purchases like homes or cars. Today, Americans are financing sneakers, fast food, makeup, clothing, and small online purchases. This represents a huge cultural shift in consumer behavior. Social media also accelerated this trend heavily. Influencers constantly promote lifestyles built around instant gratification, luxury products, fashion trends, travel, and online shopping. Buy now, pay later apps fit perfectly into this culture because they reduce the immediate psychological barrier of spending. Consumers feel like they can access lifestyles immediately without fully confronting the total cost up front. Another reason these apps grew so quickly is because they're extremely profitable for businesses. Retailers love buy now, pay later services because they often increase consumer spending. Studies show shoppers tend to buy more items and spend larger amounts when installment payment options are available. That means stores have strong incentives to aggressively promote these services during checkout. And many Americans barely notice how often these payment offers now appear online. Whether someone shops for clothing, electronics, airline tickets, furniture, or even groceries, installment payment options are almost everywhere. But there's another hidden risk many people don't fully understand: debt visibility. Traditional credit card debt is easier for consumers to mentally track because balances are centralized. Buy now, pay later. Debt can become fragmented across multiple apps and purchases. This makes it easier for people to underestimate how much they actually owe. Financial experts are increasingly concerned that some Americans are quietly accumulating dangerous levels of short-term debt without realizing it. And because regulation around these services is still evolving, consumer protections may not always be as strong as traditional lending systems. There's also growing concern about younger consumers building poor financial habits early in life. Many Gen Z consumers entered adulthood during periods of inflation, rising costs, economic uncertainty, and social media-driven spending culture. As a result, borrowing for everyday purchases started feeling normal very quickly. And perhaps the most important issue is this: buy now, pay later apps don't solve financial problems. They delay them. If someone already struggles with budgeting, overspending, debt, or insufficient income, installment payments can sometimes create temporary relief while making long-term financial stress worse. Now, to be fair, buy now, pay later services are not automatically bad. For disciplined consumers who carefully manage payments, avoid overspending, and stay organized, these services can be useful financial tools. The real problem happens when convenience turns into dependency. And in today's economy, many Americans are increasingly depending on delayed payments simply to maintain their lifestyles. That says something important about the financial pressure households are facing. Another major factor driving this trend is emotional spending. Economic stress, anxiety, burnout, and social pressure often push consumers toward online shopping as a form of temporary comfort. And installment payment systems reduce the emotional resistance to spending. This creates a cycle where financial stress can actually encourage more borrowing and more consumption. Now here's the big question: could buy now, pay later become America's next debt crisis? Some economists believe it could become a growing financial risk if consumers continue accumulating installment debt while living costs remain high, especially if unemployment rises or the economy slows down. Because once incomes become unstable, even small recurring payments can quickly become difficult to manage. At the Dollar Pilot, we believe understanding how modern financial systems work is more important than ever, because many of today's financial products are designed to make spending feel easier, faster, and emotionally painless. But long-term financial freedom usually requires the opposite: discipline, patience, budgeting, and delayed gratification. The truth is, buy now, pay later. Apps became popular because millions of Americans feel financially stretched in a more expensive economy. And until wages, savings rates, and financial stability improve, these services will likely continue growing across the United States. Stay informed, stay disciplined, and remember, just because you can pay later doesn't always mean you should.